Good afternoon and welcome to the Preservation Association of Lincoln Brown Bag Lecture Series. My name's Eileen Burke and I'm the coordinator of these brown bags. Our lecture today is sponsored by the Preservation Association of Lincoln. If you're interested in these programs, please join our membership and you can go to preservelincoln.org to join. Our speaker today is Roxanne Smith. Roxanne has worked at the Capitol for 30 years. She studied architecture and geography at the University of Nebraska and received her degree in community and regional planning from Iowa State University and uses the knowledge gained in her studies to oversee the Office of the Capitol Commission's Capital Education and Promotion Program. She has come to love and appreciate the Capitol for the fine architectural monument and teaching tool that it is. Roxanne's talk today is on the Capital Ornaments of the Capitol building. Please join me in welcoming Roxanne.
Thank you very much. Eileen approached me about this brown bag on a Christmas in July theme. And ornaments match perfect with Christmas in July. So to get us into the mood, we have the blizzard of 1888 represented. I'm sure everyone knows the story, but there is Minnie Freeman, the large gold figure in the center, who tied her students together and saved them in that most horrible blizzard. The figure in the upper left is an Indian spirit that the children believed guided and protected them as they survived the blizzard of 1888 when over 100 other Nebraskans were lost in that most horrible storm. I want you to particularly notice, this is one of my favorite mosaics in our Capitol, the way that Jean Reynaud, the artist, abstract expressionist, mosaicist, who captured the blizzard, has used the colored tile, and very much it looks like little snowflakes that are against the black background. I think the black background then reminds us of how the children couldn't see. The snow was blowing so hard they couldn't see in front of them, and they were lost and very scared. So please come to the Capitol, and in the morning light, this mosaic looks the very best. So please come and take a look at the blizzard mosaic. The title of my program, Capital Ornaments. We will talk about the ornaments that we have begun to make to celebrate the beauty of the Nebraska State Capitol. Commemorative ornaments have become very popular with travelers and visitors. You can see the ornaments from the nation's capital and an ornament from the Texas State Capitol. When the Office of the Capitol Commission was created in 2004, the Capitol Commission decided that we would showcase our building with commemorative ornaments. The Office of the Capitol Commission is responsible for the preservation of our building, the management and maintenance of our building. We're responsible for the education, the tours that we provide, and then also there's the promotion of the building. And the ornaments would fall under promotion of our building and providing visitors opportunities to share the ornaments with their friends and family. The first ornament that we created in 2004 was to represent the Capitol itself. The purpose of the ornaments is to give visitors the opportunity for souvenirs that they can take home, and I think that the building itself is one of the things that visitors look for when they're having ornaments. We also chose to do the very front portal of the building to showcase the many different aspects of the Capitol. You can see the inscription by Hartley Burr Alexander, who was the thematic consultant for the project. You can also see Lee Laurie's pioneer sculpture, the spirit of the pioneers coming west. And then you can see an example of the beautiful ornamental grill work on the windows above in the archway. In addition to the architectural representations of our Capitol, we look at the ornamental decoration that's in the building. The Capitol has many, many spectacular choices. Excuse me. And as I was preparing for this brown bag, once again, I was looking at our beautiful Capitol, and I was, as always, amazed by the beautiful building that Bertram Goodhue provided us. Bertram Goodhue's ornamental style can be seen in many other buildings that he created. Here we have the very top of the dome at St. Bartholomew's Church in New York City. And as you look at the intricate lacework in that dome, you can almost imagine that indeed as a holiday ornament also. This is the C. Brewer Building in Honolulu. And as you look at this office building and residence, you can see that even the railing that he used and the decorative details underneath the windows in the corners, those all have the potential to be used as an architectural ornament. We have on the left, there is Balboa Park from the Panama Pacific Exposition of 1915, and you can see another example of the highly decorative work that Bertram Goodhue placed on his buildings. And on the right is the downtown branch of the Los Angeles Public Library. And looking at that space, you can also see the incredible ornament that Goodhue put onto that space, and then the many opportunities for picking out those details and using them. And here is a picture of the Nebraska State Capitol, which I think is quite delightful because it's not a common view of our building, but you can see even the subtle detail in the decoration and the lacework, and then you can understand how difficult it is to decide what are we going to use for ornament each year. There are just too many choices. To help us choose the Capital Ornament, we look for the ornament's purpose and its use. We try to tie in different themes also for each ornament. We try to match the holiday or the season of winter when the ornaments are generally used. We try to commemorate activities or events that happen in the Capitol. We try to have something that's going to be educational to teach the citizens and visitors about Nebraska. And then also I like to have something that could be representative of all three branches of government. Sometimes when I think about the ornaments and my visions of them, I frequently think beyond just hanging an ornament on a festive holiday tree. And sometimes I imagine that people would take the ornaments home and hang them from their ceiling fans, so that on the little cord that you pull, so that every time they would reach up and pull down a decorative piece of the Nebraska Capitol as they turn their ceiling fans on. Or if they want to hang them in a window that will reflect and sparkle with the light, so that each and every day they can be reminded of how beautiful our Capitol really is. So where do we look? At first, we look at the exterior, and you can see this is a most recent shot of the building since they've been able to turn on that fountain, the state seal fountain in front of the building. So we have the vast exterior of our Capitol as a choice. We have the interior of the building as a choice. Looking at all the detail everywhere, which do you pick? You can see the vestibule dome. There are many options and many choices there. We have the Great Hall. The beautiful work of Hildreth Mier in the floors and ceilings has provided many opportunities. You can see in the beautiful arches, there are abstract decorations. In the top of the arches, you can see those geometric shapes, and then around in the large rectangular panels, you can see the figurative mosaics that she did. Which do you choose? Then one looks to the floor. There are again the geometric mosaics in the floor. There are the figurative mosaics in the floor. We have the symbols of Nebraska. Right here you can see the western meadowlark. Is there a way to incorporate these figurative mosaics in the floor and try to make them a theme for a Capitol ornament? Representing the three branches of government, one steps into the governor's suite. Here in this historical photo of the governor's suite, you can see it as an open waiting room for people to come and wait and visit the governor. And then there are the many murals that are across the ceiling of the room. Modern times, of course, the secretaries have moved out into the governor's reception room, and you take a look at it. You have the fireplace, you have the wainscoting, you have the vaulting, looking around and trying to find something that would be specific for a holiday, perhaps, or a symbol of Nebraska. So then you start to zero in, and in the door of the governor's suite, there is beautiful inlay work and marquetry. So then you get even closer, and you start to think, well, some of that corn design, symbol of Nebraska, you could do ears of corn, or then we have just a decorative figure in the top of the style where it intersects, or in that center of the door where there's the round circle. Most ornaments are round, so that's a possibility for us also. Then you look into the fireplace, trying to represent the artist, Lee Laurie, the sculptor of our building. Looking into the fireplace, you can see the figures that he has carved there. Ultimately, it was decided that the bison would be a fine example. The bison, a symbol of the prairie, a symbol of the West and Nebraska, is used throughout the decorative detail in our building. And in the governor's suite, I think it's one of the finest representations. So there we have the bison ornament is represented. Then we move into the rotunda. Again, many different choices. Looking up into the top of the dome, you have the chandelier that hangs, and how beautiful it is. And if you haven't had the opportunity, I would encourage you, come to the Capitol in the morning to see the Blizzard of 1888 mural at its best. Come late in the day, in the afternoon, at 5 o'clock or quarter until 5 before the building closes. And then you can see the sun come in through the west window and illuminate that chandelier, and it just shines very beautifully and sparkles very nice, which would make it a good representation of the building to be used in an ornament. And here we have our 2005 Capital Ornament, which is in fact the chandelier. And I must say that this ornament is currently sold out. As I suspected, the chandelier hangs perfect on a tree or any place else that it would be a decorative feature. And this one has been very popular, and this one has sold out. There you can see it once again. Very nice. Ooh, the Rotunda Dome. This provides us opportunities. We can see the angels. And of course, at the holidays, we sometimes think of angels or these winged figures. So it was determined that we'd go ahead and use one of these as an ornament. There are many people who have collections who travel. As they travel to different places, they'll collect a little ornament or something. And angels are very popular indeed. People have angel pins, they have little angel statues. They need an angel capital ornament also, or a winged figure capital ornament. Then back down onto the floor, looking in the Great Hall. One of the items that most visitors recognize, take a look at, and frequently we are asked on our guided tours, what are these round grills for? And then we have to explain that they're part of the original heating system in the building. They're cast bronze. And then they also like to tie in how Hildreth Mier used the basic pattern of the marble that surrounds the medallions in the vestibule floor and modified it, pierced it to allow the steam heat to come out. Here you can see up close an 8-pointed star. A star is a good symbol for the holiday also. So then it was determined that we would use this bronze floor grill as an ornament. And yep, the light is very good. You can see how we have been able to work with our vendor and try to get some of these replicated exactly as they appear in the floor. Many times the vendor will try to modify the designs and put their own flourish on them. But I always have to go back and say, no, Bertram Goodhue and his design team did it best, and we are going to stay true to the ornament as Goodhue designed. We had the governor's office represented, the executive branch, so then it was determined we should go into the legislative branch and try and pull an ornament from their area. Here you can see the speaker's niche in the very front of the chamber, and across the speaker's niche in the front there are modified prairie flowers that are represented. You can see this is also from the governor's suite. There's the corn representation. Here in the speaker's niche I also see a representation of corn that could someday appear if we think about doing a Corn of the Capital series. We would have 20, 30, 40 different ornaments that we could go to with all the representations. But here you can see at the bottom there is the white ear of corn with the gold husks being pulled around, and then you move up across the top. Then you have to consider the prairie flowers. Which of those prairie flowers should one use? Then you get into the actual manufacture of the ornament, trying to figure out which would translate well into that design, looking at structure of the ornament so it doesn't fold or bend, and then you have to consider how to pierce it, because if people do choose to hang it from their lock on their window or they want to hang it on their tree, it's always nice to be able to see the light through it so that it gets a little bit of sparkle. The prairie flower that's just on either side of the very top of the arch had structure, it was stable, and then it had enough of the little wide areas that could be opened up so that it would translate well into an ornament. And again, you can see we tried very hard to match the color, get the color corrections, and try to get the ornaments to be as true as possible to the original. And there you can see an ornament that represents the legislature. And even though the ornaments have been dated, it's our hope that senators will want the ornaments when they come to legislature and say, here, this is where I work, to give them as gifts or just to have as souvenirs to represent their time in the Capitol. Then we go to the court, the judicial branch. And with the knowledge that the Rotunda chandelier was a very popular ornament and sold very quickly, it was determined that possibly we should do another chandelier in the building. So we go into the law library, into the reading room. They have a very, very nice chandelier, again, using the star design in keeping with the season. And then you have to decide, well, which way do we do the ornament? Do we have it hang true as a chandelier, which is what we did with the Rotunda? Or do we turn it on its side and let it go to the star? And it was determined for the law library that the hanging the way it appears in the room wouldn't be a very attractive ornament really, but as it hung as a star is a very nice ornament. So we chose to go with that, and it looks very nice. And it's a popular seller also. That this one is another one that has almost sold out. Then at the front of the building, I put this photo in here. This is taken on the solstice. And it's one of the few times when the full face of the Capitol shines with the sunlight. Again, come to the building, stand out there by that fountain, and you can see early in the morning or later in the evening, the sun is just starting to move away, but you will be able to see the relief sculpture on the front with the light and shadow. That's very, very beautiful. So it was determined we'll go outside, we'll focus on Lee Laurie's work again. We had already done the Pioneer panel very early, so then looking up, you can see the beautiful ornament that they designed. And snowflakes have 6 sides, so it was determined that we could go ahead and use a 6-sided design in the building, and that would look like a snowflake. Then we have choices of the corn or the wheat snowflakes, and the corn detail is a little bit easier to produce, and also we can match it very exactly to the original design. So we have a corn snowflake ornament. The festive holidays usually involve a tree of some sort, so it was determined that we should look at the trees that are represented in the building. Throughout the Capitol, Hildreth Mier tried to represent native animals and native trees. And here in this arch, we have the pine tree and the willow tree represented. Willows aren't usually associated with the festive holidays, so we went ahead and decided we would go with the pine tree. And here you can see the pine tree detail up close, and then the ornament that represents that pine. And again, we try to keep it as original as possible, following the original design. And there's our pine tree ornament. Then we try to use our ornaments to celebrate major projects that we have accomplished at the Capitol. Most recently, we undertook an elevator restoration project. And always on the lookout for potential for ornaments, we reinstalled we had replicated the original dials, and we reinstalled the original floor indicators and dials for the elevator project. You can see a dial back in place, and then it spins around as it goes to the different floors. Of course, sitting there, watching the dials move, as the dial moves down to the basement, it hangs vertically. And as I was looking up at that one day, I thought, that looks somewhat like an icicle hanging down, doesn't it? And if you're a 4th grade boy out there, you know that it really looks like a sword, but I saw it as an icicle. So I went to Matt Hansen. As he was working on the replication, I got a photo of the original floor indicator. And then we crafted the ornament to look like the new dial indicator. And yes, in some circles, it's an icicle. In other circles, I suppose it could be a sword, but that would encourage the little children to buy it and take it home and have their Capitol sword ornament, indeed. And I think we do have swords in our building, but those probably aren't necessarily associated with the festive holiday. We are just beginning to undertake a major HVAC project in the building. And one of the things that we're looking at is the ventilation system and the heating system. Bertram Goodhue throughout the building used decorative grills to cover the steam radiators. Here you can see an image of the grill that's at one of the doors to the Capitol, and you can see all that intricate lace work, if you will, but you can see all that intricate details, and then you can imagine how that might look hanging from a tree or something in front of a window that would let light come in and sparkle again. But of course, always on the corn mission. One of the only decorative exterior ventilation grill in the building had been hidden for many, many years by the large mugo pines that would grow around the base of the Capitol. When we did the exterior masonry project and cut down those large pines so they could gain access to the tuck pointing, this grill magically appeared for everyone to see. So it was determined that that would be a good way for us to celebrate the beginning of the HVAC project that we have just begun at the Capitol. It will be a 10-year project, and this will celebrate its beginning. There you can see again how we have worked to make the ornament look very, very similar to the Capitol decoration. And there it is, up close. This year, I had received a special request for an ornament. Someone had suggested that I go ahead and try and do the Thunderbird. So I thought, well, sure, we can do the Thunderbird. Everybody who comes looks up to the very top of the building. They see the Thunderbird up there, but it's sometimes not noticed at all. I know from giving tours that when we mention it on tour, frequently people say, well, we'll have to go back out and take a look at that. So I knew that the Thunderbird at the top of the building was a possibility. The east chamber doors are included on our tour, and most of the visitors are drawn and attracted to those doors. So I think this is one of the things that many people remember about their time in the building. Inside the east chamber, there is another representation of a Thunderbird. And then you imagine, well, how would that look? But most people don't get to see into that room, and so you want to have something that many people will be able to see and identify with. So then it becomes the battling Thunderbirds. Which one would win? It was the East Chamber Thunderbird, because that's the one that visitors see, that's the one they'll be reminded of. And there you can see, we have the 2016 ornament is the Thunderbird, and it looks working again with the vendor, the contractor, to get the color exactly right, to get the detail exactly right, and I think this one is going to be very lovely. This one is printed on both sides, so that when you hang it from your ceiling fan, as you walk around the room, you will be able to pull on it and see it from all directions. There it is, final product. The 2017 ornament, because Nebraska will be 150 years old coming up on March 1st, 2017, we're going to celebrate the sesquicentennial with a special sesquicentennial ornament. We'll just have to wait and see, of course, what it will be. I'm not going to tell. It's going to be a special surprise. And the ornaments are all available for sale at the State Historical Society's landmark stores here in the Historical Society building, at the Capitol, and possibly they might be out at Chimney Rock. I don't know. That's a little far, but it might be able to purchase some out there for travelers traveling across the state, and they just get ready to leave and say, oh, I wish I would have gotten that Capital ornament. The sale of the ornaments supports the preservation and restoration of the Nebraska State Capitol, and also it aids in our educational opportunities for the building and getting people to remember the stories that they heard on the tour by having the ornament with them. And then we have our official state holiday tree, which is decorated with ornaments from all 93 counties of Nebraska. We try to have the ornaments to be handmade. They are generally 8 inches in diameter, so they are in a proper scale for the 20 to 25 foot tall tree that we have during the holidays in the building. They are unbreakable. And they should represent the county, Nebraska, or the holiday season. And as always, some of the ornaments that are on our official Capitol tree are from the 1970s. Some are starting to look a little worn, and some have been breakable and have dropped off the tree and been broken. So we always welcome anyone who wants to contribute. We like to have them to be handmade. They need to be unbreakable, 8 inches in diameter, and representing the state, the holiday season, or the county. And if you want more information about the opportunity to make an ornament for our festive Capitol tree, you can contact me. You can go to our Capitol's website, or you can give me a call, 402-471-0449. or www.capital.org. Please, questions at all? Yes.
I hope this will be, I know it's being recorded, I hope it will be reproduced, so if people want to buy what they just heard here after a tour, it would be a wonderful way to encapsulate and remember what they saw.
Yes, indeed, that was our intent. The Office of the Capital Commission, an educational and a promotional opportunity, as well the proceeds from the sale of the ornaments go to help with our preservation and restoration projects in the building. And yes, Matt?
You mentioned several of the ornaments are either sold out or close to selling out. Is there a plan to continue to keep those available through reissues?
Yes, we can reissue those. As always with the work that we do, it depends on the funding that we have to be able to reorder those ornaments, but it's my goal that we'll be able to reorder the Rotunda chandelier ornament, because that one's very beautiful and that was very, very popular. And then it builds tension. People are rushing to the gift shop to get the ornaments that they can. And some of us, not to be mentioned, but some of us have collected one of each. And then some people come late to the Capital Ornament and they think they have to go back and begin in 2004 and collect them all. So that's one way to make excitement for people to come and collect our ornaments, indeed. And there's, just if we can think about chandeliers, because the chandeliers are the ones that sell very well. Come in, go to the 14th floor, look at that beautiful tetrahedron chandelier that's up there, and then imagine that that might possibly become an ornament. It would be a big challenge to get it to fold properly, because the ornaments are made from sheet brass, and then they have to punch them and fold them, so that one would be a challenge, but I think that would be most spectacular also in terms of a Capital Ornament. Other questions perhaps? Thank you all very much. Uh-oh.